What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chaez Pearson, and this is the Outlet Forum with my esteemed co-host Chris Camello. What up, Chris?
What up? What up, Chaz? The World Series stage is set. NBA season is going, and the NFC West might be the best division in football right now. Just throwing that out there. But go ahead, set the table.
You know what? I do want to say this before we get into all the basketball. Football season has been in full effect, and this is the best time of the year. I know we've said it on every single show every week for the past 3 weeks, but it really is, especially like these last 2 weeks of the month, because you get NFL football with NBA starting and the World Series or NLCS this week. Chris, I am currently in Seattle, and the face on Mariners fans just walking down the street after that epic home run from George Springer on Monday night in a game 7, which he's been privy to do in previous game 7s, which we unfortunately know in 2017. I just want to say the look on their faces, it's like they've seen ghosts. And I've been here for a few days now, and I just feel for them. So we're going to get into football. We're going to get into basketball. But just to start off with the World Series and being on the soil where it happened, it's just so depressing for those fans. And I feel for them being I think 8 outs away from their first World Series.
Yeah, they were there. That's what I think. And they were dominating that. I wouldn't say dominate, but they had control of that game. But it just goes to show you that, here, a walk here, now it sets the stage. And I'm sure Dan Wilson, the manager, who did a fantastic job this year with the Mariners, he's going to get second guessed all winter long with why did you not bring in that closer, Andres Munoz, in a high leverage spot with the top of the order going through it. But the thing is, Chaz, as you know, there's an element of trusting the guys that got you there. The Bizzardos, the Gabe Spires, the Brashes, those were all their high leverage guys. It's like saying, well, why'd you bring in Vestia in this spot? Well, Vestia's been our guy this year. Why'd you bring in Trinan? It's like if that would have happened to the Dodgers last year, right? These are the guys that got us there. We're in this position without those guys. So, I understand what he was trying to do. And I think he was trying to squeeze whatever he could out of the bullpen before leaning on Munoz for the 6 outs. But yeah, I mean,
but Chris, this happens.
Who's to say that the same thing would? Yeah,
this happens every time. Every time a team gets too cute. Ask Lincoln Riley about that trick play in the rain on Saturday. There's so much. Clearly, there's so much to talk about tonight. We would be remiss if we didn't get into everything that has happened over the course of the last 24 hours. The Knicks beating the Cavs tonight, the Thunder and Double OT getting their first win on ring night in the Thriller, and Ohtani with the greatest performance of all time in any game, let alone a postseason game, to send your team to the World Series. We'll get
unless you ask Rob Parker.
All of that. I got some special words for Rob Parker, but we won't go there. Let's start off first, Chris, with Luka Magic, who put up an epic performance, and it still wasn't enough as the Lakers lose in their home opener to the Warriors, 119-109. Luka with an absolute banger of a performance, 43 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, moving them puppies against Steph Curry on the perimeter, played well. Austin Reeves played well with 26 and 9. DeAndre Ayton with only 10 points, 5 of 7 from the field, shot well, just didn't shoot enough, and just seemed completely disinterested in the second half, having 6 rebounds at halftime, but finishing the game with those same 6 rebounds. Just absolutely atrocious, in my opinion. Chris, I set the table for you pretty well, my man. Let's get to Eaton. What did you make of the Lakers' loss in their home opener, and what does this bode for them, well or not so well, moving forward?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot to be said. First of all, how many games are you going to win with 20 turnovers? How many games are you going to win when you miss 11 free throws? How many games are you going to win when you're a minus 27 from the 3-point line? Lakers were 8 of 32. Golden, I think, had 17. I think they were 17 of something from downtown. I can't remember the exact stat, but they hit 17 threes. How are you going to win when, and I don't know whose genius idea was, let's switch Gabe Vincent onto Jimmy Butler in the post. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, no, that's play. Nate McMillan, you're a freaking genius. Now I think it's become clear you've been fired 4 times in your NBA coaching career. But, hey, these guys are the smartest that they do. What the heck do I know? I'm just some schlub who watches the game. But even I can tell you that was a bad mistake. And not to mention, Chaz, what was one of their issues last year? It was the third quarters, right? Coming out slow consistently. That's been a problem for them for the last few years, even under Darvin Ham, the former head coach of the Lakers. So, look, Luka was fantastic. Reeves was all right. I thought he had a good fourth quarter, up for a lackluster third. The others last night. Gabe Vincent, nowhere to be found. Liability on both ends. Hachimura was not good. DeAndre Ayton, like you mentioned, only 6 rebounds, and they were all in the first half. He did finish with 10 points, but he looked lost on the defensive end. And I get it. I mean, Lakers are still trying to implement everything. They're trying to, deal with life. Without LeBron James right now, who's hurt with the sciatica, will not be available for the next, 3 to 4 weeks. And Golden State is basically a well-oiled machine. They didn't make a lot of big-time acquisitions this offseason. They brought in Al Horford late. They re-signed Kuminga late. But outside of that, they're essentially running it back. And you saw how good they were with Butler and Curry last year. So they are a legit squad. And I know we were on here last week and we're talking about OKC and Houston. We're going to in a minute. And, the Clippers and Denver and all these teams. Let's not sleep on the Warriors because Jimmy Butler brings a different dynamic and a facet to this team, specifically on the end. But of course, we know what he could do defensively, and on that end of the floor, he's going to compete. But what he's able to do offensively, instead of just being a catch and shoot guy, to actually be able to run offense and post up is really marvelous. But the Lakers got some things that they could figure out. And the first thing that they got to figure out is their
Yeah, that perimeter defense is awful. It's really just all about effort, honestly, in my opinion, and not turning the ball over and making free throws. When you miss 10 or 11 free throws and then you lose by 10, it's easy to just look straight at that, especially when you're not, it's not like you were out rebound. It's not like the disparity between calls was a whole lot. It wasn't even like you had a big difference in how the game or the flow of the game was done. The Jimmy Butler just abused Gabe Vincent, like you said. And I'm not sure why Marcus Smart didn't just start the game, honestly, because you put yourself in a hole in that first and third quarter. Because without finishing or starting, I should say, the third quarter in the worst way possible, I think it was like a 13-0 run. Or maybe like a 15-6 run or something, outrageous like that. But these runs that the Lakers go on or allow the other team to go on consistently to start the third quarter in each game is just a trend that JJ Redick has noticed since last season, the preseason, to mentioning it last night. And he's got to change it up. He's got to either prepare his team better, or he has to switch up the lineup, or he has to do a multitude of other things. But you can't just completely ignore the fact that they are just lackluster when opening up every third quarter. And that's usually the difference in the game, because you outscored the Warriors in the fourth and in the second quarter. So I just don't get how this is done consistently game over game. But props to the Warriors. Props to Steve Kerr for getting his team ready to play, especially Kuminga, who spent all of the summer and the offseason in a contract stalemate and somehow comes into the game and puts up 13 of his 17 points in the second half alone, and was a big catalyst in pushing the Warriors over the edge in winning that game. So big props to them for that. And they're definitely going to be a top 16 in the West. I don't know if they'll make it up to, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are always jumbled by a game or two. There's always, 2 or 3 games that separates
course, yeah.
2 through 8,
And of
so that's just the Western Conference.
Right. And let me, yeah, of course. And let's not get overexcited and let's not get too defeated after one game. So 81 more of these things to go, guys. And you know as well as I do, these seasons are a war of freaking attrition, man. It's about healthiest the longest and who could be able to, grind out these wins. Golden State looked like they could have, and they knocked out the 2-seed Houston Rockets. They look like they were primed to actually get to the Western Conference Finals. But unfortunately, Steph goes down in the middle of that series against Minnesota. I wasn't sure if they were going to win that series or not. The Wolves definitely had a size advantage. But it just goes to show you that, you could be great all season and all of a sudden a few injuries happen and now you're out of it. So, but if Golden State's able to stay healthy, Jimmy Butler in particular, because that's been a problem for him the last 3-4 years, is staying healthy during the regular season, know what Jimmy Buckets is capable of doing. And now he's going to have a full season to really get on the same page with Steph, with Draymond, with Kuminga, Ski, GP2 at Big Al. We didn't even see Moses Moody last night. He's hurt right now. So they're only going to get better. This might be low key one of the deeper Golden State teams we've seen in I can't even believe 2022, the championship year, and they weren't even super deep then.
Yeah, no, they weren't super deep then, but they got just enough guys, about 8 guys, maybe 9, and that's really all you need when you're a coach. You need your starters, and you need really about 3 guys. I mean, in JJ's case, you just need starters in certain games with the way that he kind of did his lineup towards the end of the only series that the Lakers played. But enough about the Lakers. Right. Like you said, not going to get too invested, not too high, not too low about one game. And that's the beauty of the NBA. You play every other night, and you got a chance to clean it up, in the Lakers' case, on Friday. On Prime Video, by the way. And really quick, Chris, I just want to say, NBC, that was nostalgic. Just
that was
hearing
awesome.
That music, seeing Jordan at halftime, hearing Mike Tirico, hearing Jamal Crawford on the call, seeing Maria Taylor and
Noah Eagle
Melo
did a good job too.
Yeah, man. So I just, yes, we lost TNT, but man, did we gain something? I mean, we really didn't lose TNT, really. We lost the broadcast, but we're still seeing Chuck, Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie at halftime like we did.
All of that talent. Right. And all of that talent has just been going to different places. Kevin Harlan, I believe, is going to be with Amazon. That's the one thing I kind of missed last night was Kevin Harlan.
Oh, we're going to get Kevin Harlan is on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to hear him on Friday night, Chaz, right after I do Thursday Night Football. Oh, baby, what a play.
Man. We don't get to hear Brian Anderson anymore, though. We do get to hear him on the baseball calls like we did during the NLCS, which was great. But outside of that, man, awesome. shout out to NBC for putting on a great broadcast on opening night. Getting to tonight's games, we got a pretty good game. And I may stand corrected already, Chris, because I posted a tweet in the first quarter of this game that said that the Cavs aren't doing shit this year. They are a completely different team, and I may stand corrected. But they are a completely different team. No DeAndre Hunter, no Darius Garland tonight. So they were missing a few key players. But
no. But you're right, Chaz. Their season's over. Their season's over. Forfeit the next 81. You're absolutely correct.
Not that their season you're right. Over. Their season is not over. It's just I just feel like they're a completely different team at their core. But I could be wrong. I could be corrected. But at the end of the day, they still did go down to the Knicks, 119-111. I had the under in this game. It was 229. I lose the under by 1 point. Chris, what did you make of tonight's game? Do you think the Knicks are poised for their first finals run since 1999?
If there was ever an opportunity for these two teams in particular to make a deep run, Cavs obviously haven't done much since the post-LeBron era. They went to 4 straight finals from 2015 through 2018, right? That was LeBron's second stint with the team. Obviously with Kyrie and K Love and, Shumpert, J.R. Smith, those guys, coached by Ty Lue, and 1 year with David Ball. if there was ever an opportunity, and I think we said this the weeks leading into the season, this is the golden opportunity for these two teams. Boston will be competitive, but no Jason Tatum, there's a ceiling. Indiana will still be a pain in the butt to beat on many nights, but no Tyrese Halliburton, there's a ceiling. Milwaukee, this could be the last stand for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're essentially trying. They've added some good young pieces. Once again, though, a ceiling. And if there is not a ceiling with the two teams that if there's not a ceiling with two teams in the East, it's Cleveland and New York. So they have both got a golden opportunity this year. I really thought Cleveland at least had a shot to get to the East Finals last year. Very disappointing. And you wonder, will the same thing happen again? What I am saying is, don't judge this team too hard until they get all of these pieces in place. I'll tell you what I did like about Cleveland. Lonzo Ball is a nice piece. A guy that you could put into pick and roll. He can create easy opportunities for Jared Allen, for Evan Mobley. Zoe, it's been a long couple of years for him. Experimental knee surgery with the cartilage and everything like that. God bless technology. But it's great to see him back out there on the court. Cleveland is going to be in the mix in some capacity. And unless they screw around and lose to a Boston or a Milwaukee, or who knows, maybe even your boys, the Philadelphia 76ers, in the second round or something, and then, well, they've always been your squad. Every time I pick them, we're talking about the Eastern team. Oh, I gotta go with Philly, Chris. You know I gotta go with Philly. That's my chassis.
Hey, and Tyrese Maxey did his goddamn thing. Joel Embiid had 4 points.
And BJ Edgecombe. Yeah, you see what BJ Edgecombe did? And everybody was talking shit about that pick in June. Yeah.
The second most points in an NBA debut, not a Sixers debut, an NBA debut. 34 points tonight. Beat Iverson's 30 points, only second to Wilt's 43 points in a rookie debut in an NBA game.
Yeah. So my point being is, and I'll turn it back over to you. Teams are solid. Both teams are going to be well coached. I know Mike Brown has got a new, he's the new head coach for the Knicks, former 2-time coach of the year. Got the experience, won a couple of championships as an assistant. Went to a final with an undermanned Cleveland team. They're in a prime position. The question is going to be, once again, the health of it. Be able to be successful without leaning on Jalen Brunson when it comes to the playoffs and throughout the regular season. I think that's going to be the key. And for Cleveland, can they duplicate the regular season success that they had at the same point in time, not having a meltdown like they've had in recent postseason and then the last 2 years in the second round? That's really what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, I agree with that. It really just is going to come down to matchups, who's healthy, who's not, because Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, there's a slew of guys that are out, and Kyrie Irving, who won't even touch the floor this season, the latter of which probably will in terms of Kyrie at some point, but everybody else, I think will be out for the entire season. Word on the street is that Jason Tatum is making really good progress and might see the court before the end of the season in April. So we'll see where the Celtics are. If they're trending in the wrong direction like they are tonight and losing at home and putting the ball in the hands of Pritchard on their last 2 possessions to end the game, they're going to lose a lot of games this year. And we may not see Jason Tatum at the end of the season. Just as an aside, Chris, I know we got to delay here, but I just want to let you know, Wemby is doing his fucking thing tonight, man. He has over 30 points through 3 quarters. He's dunked every which way in terms of reverse alley-oop, reverse baseline, and ones over AD. They're up 25 points in Dallas. I mean, the Spurs and Wemby himself might be an absolute problem this season, especially if he stays healthy. I just wanted to let you know that as an aside, since that's happening in real time.
No, for sure. They're up 25 points. Cooper Flag having a nice second half, 10 points, 10 rebounds. And so, it's not going to be VJ Edgecombe, but it's not bad either. But AD with a solid 22 and 13. I know the night is definitely belonging to Mr. Wembanyama. He's been absolutely tremendous. In this game, Stephon Castle has looked good. I mean, listen, I said the Spurs are going to probably be a play-in team, and they're going to be a pain because of Wemby. But Wemby not healthy, Spurs not going anywhere. So 1 + 1 = 2. You have to have Victor Wembanyama if you're the San Antonio Spurs. And by the way, is Fox even out there tonight? I haven't even seen him. I think he's still recovering from an injury.
Yeah.
So
he's
so,
out and going to be out
once
for
again
the foreseeable future.
But this is an important game for the Spurs to remind. I understand both teams are not healthy. I get it. But this is important for the Spurs to say, we're coming. Yeah, Denver. Yeah, Houston. Yeah, OKC. Yeah, Lakers, Clippers, whatever. Don't forget Minnesota. Don't forget about us, mother effers. Les jeux sont faits. Translation, game is up. Your
jig is up.
Ass is mine. That's from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Wemby, not surprised. Unfortunately, his season was a freaking blood clot issue, and I hope he's put those issues to the side and he's been able to overcome them. But that could be a tricky thing. But if he is healthy, once again, I feel like I've been saying this all night. If he is healthy, the Spurs are going to be a force to be reckoned with. I would say a 5-win team this year, Chaez. Essentially.
Yeah.
I think they got absolutely. That capability.
I know everybody says everything's this is predicated on health, or that's predicated. The entire league is predicated on health. So let me just say that as a literal blanket statement. Still staying in the Southwestern Division of the NBA, the Thunder and the Rockets got it on last night in an epic thriller to open the season on NBC and Peacock, by the way. The Thunder win a game 125-124 over the Rockets, where SGA had a huge step back on the left block, or left elbow, I should say, to send the game into the first overtime. Second overtime, Kevin Durant seemingly almost pulls a Chris Webber, calls timeout. When he doesn't have a timeout, Sengun has to get in front of him. The Thunder are all up in arms. They want a technical foul to win the game. Obviously, that doesn't happen, and they end up losing the game anyway because the KD fouls SGA on
bit on the fake.
SGA goes to the foul line, and that is the theme for the Thunder, just getting to the line and making free throws. What did you make of the epic thriller, and do you think that the Rockets can overcome this and live up to the hype that they have, even though they don't have Van Vliet on the floor and they got, a second-year guy and Thompson bringing up the ball? What do you make of the Houston Rockets?
And Reed Shepard back him up. First of all, it was a great game. I don't think I've seen a great opener like that since, correct me, Chaez, 2010. Lakers Rockets on their ring night. Steve Blake, the new, it's a game-winning three in overtime to beat LA. So, by the way, take me off the screen over here, bro.
No, that was an accident.
Thank you. So yeah, that was it was an incredible. Oh no worries. And I thought it was me for a sec. The technical problems. You know how much I love those. No, but actually right now, no, it was a great. And what was funny was it was kind of a snooze fest. Both teams were kind of lackluster offensively. SGA took a long time for him to get going. I thought Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso actually changed that game. But here's the thing. Yeah, it was a tough loss for Houston. But I think if you're Houston, you left that arena with your heads held high. You played well enough to beat the champs. Yeah, you didn't come up with the win, but you're also still going to play together. They're, a young group set this, reach the standard they set last year, being the West, trying to integrate KD, no point guard, like you mentioned, no Fred VanVleet. That's an issue they're going to need to keep an eye on this year, and perhaps maybe trade market at some point this season if that becomes a problem. But if you're Houston, a lot of people said, well, Houston could knock out OKC this year. They proved that they actually could. Yes, it's opening night. I don't know how much stock you want to put into that, but they are a team who I think feels they could match up with the Thunder. They've got the youth, the athleticism on the perimeter. They have the size that could offset Hartenstein and Holmgren. There was no J-Dub last night. I think that made a difference for the Thunder. But at the same point in time, I really liked what the Rockets did last night. They competed. And I think they feel like these guys potentially down the road, and we can stay healthy and make sure those point guard issues don't bite us.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as they don't bite and as long as they don't stick like that, then they should be just fine. I think they're going to win a lot of games. I think that they'll be a top 3 seed in the West. Again, they were the number 2 seed last year. I mean, based on, how deep they are and how much length that they have, barring injury, they could win the West in terms of having the number 1 seed or even making it to the final. So their ceiling is very high. The Thunder obviously can be the first back-to-back champions since the Golden State Warriors almost 10 years ago, in my opinion. Very, very easy for them. Not easy for them to do that, but I can see them doing that given the depth that they have, along with the experience and confidence and youth of all of the players that they have on their team. They won that game in double overtime without Jalen Williams. I know Fred VanVleet was out, but VanVleet's going to be out all season. J-Dub is not. So I think that the Thunder have obviously one of the best chances, even though I picked Denver because Jokic is going to be on a hell of a run, I think, this season. But the West is just shaping up to be an absolute monster. And Wemby is just still doing his thing, a step back 3 to put the San Antonio Spurs up 30 in the fourth quarter in Denver. He has 40 points, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks, and it's just going the fuck off. Chris, we gotta, before we close out,
he saw Luka's performance. He saw his performance last night, and he said, "Hold my beer."
Hold my beer. He's got to come out. I don't think he's going to score more than Luka. He's probably about to come out, given that they're up by so many points. But we'd be remiss if we didn't get out of here before we got out of here. Short show tonight, guys. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the greatest performance probably in any sport, in any game, at any time, let alone in the postseason, to send your team to back-to-back World Series. Chris, this was Shohei Ohtani's epic night last Friday. I know it's been 5 days since it, but in a preview of Game 1 coming up on Friday, what did you make of that performance, and how do you see it carrying over or playing out in a couple nights in Toronto for Game 1?
Yeah. Back. Nope. Yeah. It was an insane performance. No question about it. Historic is the word using. Historic. I mean, we've seen 11 other players hit 3 home runs, but how many of those guys also had 10 strikeouts over 6 innings? The answer is none. And Shohei Ohtani, who has had a frustrating playoff run so far, and even with all of that, he's been great. You got me back? Got me back? Yeah. Okay. 10 Ks pitched. He was outstanding. And then to hit 3 home runs, I mean, there was some frustration in those swings. Like, he was letting out frustration and anger that he had been feeling for not really producing offensively throughout these playoffs. And I just think he let it all go on Jose Quintana, and then eventually Chad Patrick, the right-hander. So you knew he was mark at some point in these playoffs. We just didn't know when, and he picked the right time. Facing the nation at Dodger Stadium, it's hard as you know, in the playoffs. I thought this series was going to go, 5-6 games. They couldn't sweep.
Especially in baseball.
I mean,
right?
Just incredible. Just incredible. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's hard to sweep. I mean, teams have done it. I'm just saying it's still. And, Milwaukee won 97 games. They beat the Dodgers this year. And I was still waiting, like, even when the Dodgers were up 3-0, Milwaukee's going to have a game at some point. They never did. They were held to 4 runs in 4 games, dude. 4 runs in 4 games. And only 2 of those came off of Dodgers starting pitch. Everything else was off the relievers. But he was a force, and he deserved to get NLCS MVP. Here I was thinking, Tommy Edman, 2-3 in this series. He's probably going to get NLCS MVP again. Ohtani said, sorry, Tommy, you got it last year. I may have only produced big for one night, but this was a historic night. The 12th different player all time to hit 3 home runs in the game. Only one of them has done that in a playoff game. I'm sorry, 3 home runs in a single playoff game. One has done it at the same time, throwing 6 shutout innings with 10 Ks. Unbelievable.
Chris, I just want to say this before we close. Watching it in real time, after he hit the second home run, which was the behemoth of the long, I think that ball went further than Kyle Schwarber's did in the NLCS or NLDS at Dodger Stadium, which was pretty crazy as well. But in real time, I think he had struck out 5 or 6 and then hit the second home run. And that by itself, I said, this is the greatest performance we've ever seen. And then he struck out 4 more after I said that, and then hit the third one, which was opposite field, halfway up the pavilion as well. So that just, like, if there was any thought from anybody, if anybody tells you anything otherwise, this being the greatest performance, it'd be like somebody in the NFC Championship game.
I would say football.
Yeah, like throws 3 touchdowns and then goes on defense and has like 2 picks and runs one of them back. Like, it's just like,
right. Yeah. Like it would be like a Deion Sanders in the Super Bowl, like, or something when he was boys or with the Niners. Yeah. Catching 2 touchdown passes on offense and then a pick 6 or, 2 interceptions or something. It's on par with that. You're absolutely right. I mean, it was historic, and there are some great names who have hit 3 home runs in a single playoff game before. Adrian Beltre, Albert Pujols, Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, Babe Ruth did it twice, George Brett. There are others I'm sure I'm missing. Adam Kennedy of the Anaheim Angels did it in the World Series. So, I mean, we went while also pitching a gem. I was concerned about the pitch coming in because it had been, 12, 13 since he last pitched in a competitive game, which was game 1 of the NLDS. So I was concerned about Russ, anxious, trying to do too much that, because he's offensively, he's going to try to, really leave his mark on pitching. He was like, nope, I'm good, guys. What happened? Ohtani, time to start looking like Shohei Ohtani, man. I tell you that. Unreal. I couldn't believe it's real, bro.
I just can't wait to see him pitch in the World Series, because one thing we know about him now is that he rises to the occasion. The bigger the moment, the better, or the more chance he has at being above average and showing you why he's the greatest of all time to ever step on a baseball field. So I'm excited for this World Series. I think the Dodgers will win this game. This will be it's not going to be a cakewalk. I think Vlad Guerrero Jr., I think Scherzer, I think Bieber, I think the rest of those guys on that team, they won all the games that they did in the American League for a reason. This series is not going 4 or 5. This will be 6, maybe 7, but I'm picking the Dodgers in 6 tough games, especially game 1, who could easily take the momentum in Toronto, given that they just won game 7 in that same building a couple nights ago. But I think ultimately the Dodgers get it done to set up a great series in 6 games. What's your official pick?
Yeah, so I'm going to take the Dodgers in 6 as well. I agree. I think the Jays team deserves some credit. And not only that, they won 94 division, and they have beaten good pitching. That's the thing. I want to point that out. Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Cam Schlieder, who was a big win for the Yankees, George Kirby, Luis Castillo. They have gotten 2 really good. So to think that the Dodgers 4 aces carry over exactly what they did against Milwaukee, against a team that 1 through 9 littered with good hitters. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is the anchor of that clutch hitter and Springer. You've got a good contact hitter, Ernie Clement, Addison Barger, Santander, if he's gonna go, Alejandro Kirk, Jimenez. He had a 4 RBI game as a hitter against the Mariners in this series. So they've got good hitters. And I think Boba's going to play in this series as well, who had a fantastic season for the Jays. Headed into free agency, I believe, this winter. So he proved as well. I think for the Dodgers, it's going to be, can we get to Gausman and Savage early on? That's going to be the question. And two, whose hitters 5'9" are going to outperform the others? Because I think to be the difference in this series as well. The back end of each lineup coming through and setting the table for big boys. We saw the Dodgers certainly do that in the NLCS with guys like Kike and Muncy and Tommy L. Now we're going to see what the Jays can do with and Barger and Jimenez and Falifa. And, even I don't know where or when Bush is going to hit, but he will be available in this series. And I think that could also be a potential factor. A lot of storylines. I posted them up on my Twitter as I'm ready for this World Series. Let's get her done.
Do we even know who they're going to give the ball to in Game 1 yet? I don't think so. The Jays.
For the Dodgers, it's going to be Blake Snell. For them, it's going to be Kevin Gausman.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here. Make sure you're in front of a TV at 5:08 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday for Game 1 of the World Series. Chris, before we get out of here, I just want to give this to the people. Just some easy money. Philadelphia, after losing to the Giants, coming back home, 7 points, lay it. Denver at home, after winning that epic game against the Cowboys, who won a great game as well, lay those 3.5. And Green Bay on Sunday night against the epic Pittsburgh Steelers, who can't seem to stop a cold, lay those 3 points as well. Wanted to give that free money to our listeners and the viewers as well. And Chris, speaking of NFL, I know you mentioned that the NFC West is the greatest division in football right now. I don't want to give any props to the Seahawks or the Niner teams or fans right now, but the answer is yes. You asked me a question earlier, and I have to just answer it and give you a couple minutes really quick before we get out of here. The NFC West is the best division in football. I can't just gloss over it. Every team is 5-2 except for the lowly Arizona Cardinals, who seem to be stuck with Kyler Murray because they paid a guy who just doesn't seem to elevate the team overall, like Sam Darnold is doing in Seattle. And frankly, Mac Jones is doing in place of Brock Purdy while he's been out as well. So I give you the floor to expound on.
Yeah, Chaz. So I mean, look, they've gotten the job done. You got to give credit where it's due. All three of these teams have finding different ways to win amidst injuries. No problem. 3 touchdown passes for Devontae Adams in London against a pretty good Jaguars team. And some guy named Mumfield caught a pass, and so did Terrence Ferguson. Finding different ways to get it done for the Rams. Then you got to give credit where it's due. They've had no receivers. They didn't have George. McCaffrey, you're always looking at him. Yeah, he's great, but when's he going to get hurt again? Brock Purdy, no starting quarterback. They lost 2 of their best defensive players. They're 5. And outstanding coaching by Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. Like them, you got to give credit where it's due, because it is not easy to win in this league, and it's easy to win when you are shorthanded. If you don't believe me, go ask the Baltimore Ravens, 44-10 on their home field to the Houstons. I mean, that was pathetic. And finally, the Seahawks, they have, I know. And finally, Seahawks, Mike McDonald has done a fantastic job. They lost back this offseason to Geno Smith. Really good season. And yeah, with Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings, but at the same point in time, how is that going to translate with Seattle? Up big numbers. So Seattle's finding ways, Frisco finding ways, Rams finding ways. I think that's what makes these teams dangerous. It's like, we're not going to use these injuries as to lay an egg. We're going to find to win, and that's exactly what they're doing. And that's why, in my NFC West is the best right now in the NFL. I just wanted to give all three of those teams a shout out because they've looked good through the season.
Wonder if 2 teams or 3 teams will make it to the playoffs out of the NFC West. Guaranteed 2, maybe even a third. So we'll see. Well, we thank you guys for tapping in with us in another excellent episode of The Outlet Forum. You guys know where to follow us. We won't even tell you. You see it right here at Chaez Pearson on Instagram and Twitter and X as well. At Chris_Camelo on X and CCamelo1 on Instagram as well. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back next Wednesday for another great episode, getting into everything NBA. We'll talk about the World Series as well, see how that's going. And, of course, I got you on some NFL picks at the end or middle of every week. Appreciate you guys tapping in with us. We'll see you guys next week.